"It's really no good running," Brennich said, "and these sorcerers lack the knowledge to help you." As if to illustrate his point, he snapped his fingers. At once the howling ceased, and the silver light above Shadrak's head winked out. Giving up on the door, Shadrak sprinted for the darkness of the back of the academy building, but when he rounded the corner, Brennich was there smiling at him. "The vellum, Shadrak." The banker held out his hand. "It's really that simple." "And you'll let me go?" "The vellum first, then we'll talk about it." "Talk to this," Shadrak said, raising his pistol and pulling the trigger. It clicked. Out of bullets. Brennich shrugged apologetically, and Shadrak threw the thundershot at him, then followed it up with a barrage of razor stars from his baldric. 3 of them struck home, lodging in Brennich's throat, face, and forehead. Again, no blood. Brennich casually plucked them out of his flesh and dropped them on the ground. Shadrak ran back toward the front of the building. He tripped and fell, then saw that it was Brennich who had somehow caught up with him and tripped him with his cane. A cold hand fastened around Shadrak's throat. "The vellum. I won't ask again." Shadrak gasped and coughed. The pressure on his windpipe was crushing. He knew he only had seconds left. He ripped a knife from his baldric and slashed it across Brennich's wrist, to no avail. Then he rammed the blade in deep, twisting, turning, sawing until Brennich's grip released and his hand hung from the wrist by threads of skin. Shadrak rolled to his feet and ran before the hand could grow back. He glanced over his shoulder and saw Brennich rip the ruined hand off and fling it after him, even as a new one began to sprout from his wrist. The severed hand scuttled across the ground and leapt at Shadrak. It struck his back, crawled over the top of his head, and covered his face. Fingernails dug into his forehead. The palms smothered his mouth and nose. He couldn't breathe. Footsteps came toward him, the rat-tat-tat of Brennich's cane. Shadrak ripped the hand from his face, flung it down, and stamped on it. The hand disintegrated in a cloud of soot, as if it had lost its place in existence to the new hand Brennich was using to finger-wag at Shadrak. "I have been more than patient with you, but it stops here." Shadrak could run no more. Brennich was right. It had to stop. The nightmare had to end. He leapt at the banker, thrusting with his dagger, and met only air. He spun to find Brennich behind him. Shadrak stabbed again, and again Brennich disappeared. This time the banker cracked Shadrak on the back of the head with his cane. Shadrak stumbled. Again he thrust with the dagger, and again Brennich ended up behind him, hitting him once more on the head. Shadrak stumbled and almost fell. He feinted with the dagger, and in the same instant whirled around and flung a razor star. As he'd anticipated, Brennich had shifted behind him, and the razor star lodged in his throat. No blood. No effect, save to distract him. In that instant, Shadrak was on him, stabbing over and over. Brennich backhanded him, sending Shadrak flying back 10 feet to land heavily on the ground. He tried to rise, but Brennich was already there, lifting him by the throat. Shadrak kicked and thrashed. He choked and spluttered. His vision blurred. He was dimly aware of Brennich reaching into his pocket for the vellum. But then came a blinding flash.